If your ideal springtime vibe is wandering through a blooming garden with a notebook in one hand and a sexy brooding duke in the other, then this is the book recommendation list for you. Today we are diving into one of my favorite spring-adjacent romance tropes, and that is botanists, gardeners, naturalists, herbalists, all of that in historical romance. So you know the vibe. We've got greenhouses, we've got flower shows, gardens, wild herb apothecaries, all while there's a simmering slow burn alongside it. So if you're looking for some recommendations to pick up this spring, these are the perfect historical romances for you. So let's get into it. Welcome to Reading Under the Covers, a romance novel podcast where we chat, fangirl, and maybe even swoon over our latest reads. I'm Francesca from Under the Covers book blog, and today we are celebrating the start of spring with some truly delicious historical romances that will have you wanting to start an herb garden yourself and fall in love with someone that's a bit grumpy and maybe plant obsessed. We're going to kick things off with one of my absolute favorites, and it's The Countess Conspiracy by Courtney Milan. This is a powerhouse of a book, and it gives us Violet Waterfield, who is a widow with a deeply personal past and a brilliant mind. She's been conducting groundbreaking botanical and scientific research in secret for years, but because she's a woman, she can't claim credit for any of it. And then we have Sebastian, who is her childhood best friend and is a rake by reputation, but he is also the public face of her work. So Sebastian has always been the one to present Violet's research, facing ridicule and backlash from the scientific community while she hides behind his name. But now he's tired of the lie and he wants Violet to take credit. So he wants her to believe in herself, and of course, he wants her to love him too. This is a deeply emotional, slow burn, friends to lovers romance that is full of longing, repression, and healing. Violet is unlike most historical heroines. She's guarded, brilliant, and emotionally scarred. And Sebastian, on the other hand, he's the most tendered, heart on his sleeve kind of cinnamon roll hero who will absolutely ruin you. If you're in the mood for a story that feels incredibly intimate with a heroine that is fighting to find her voice in a world that just refuses to acknowledge her, then I think that The Countess Conspiracy will definitely deliver that. It's not flashy, but it's so emotionally rewarding, and the Victorian science angle and botanical references just give it that perfect spring vibe. So definitely one that I highly recommend that you pick up. The second is Duke Gone Rogue by Christy Carlisle. Now this one is for my garden core romantics who love a grumpy duke with a hidden soft side. Will Hart is the newly minted Duke of Ashmore, and he is nothing like his scandalous father. He is all control, rules, emotionally unavailable kind of Duke energy. And after years of being the responsible one, he agrees to visit a neglected family estate in Cornwall to decompress. There he meets our heroine Maddie Ravenwood. So Maddie runs her late father's gardening business and is deeply rooted in her community. She is confident, capable, and way too busy preparing for a royal flower show to be dealing with some moody aristocrat. But of course their paths cross when she's tasked with convincing him to fix up his crumbling manor for the event. So he agrees on the condition that she joins him while he explores the area. Of course, cue the carriage rides along windswept cliffs and late night talks surrounded by blooms, and a man that is slowly falling head over heels for a woman who doesn't really need him, but maybe wants him anyway. The chemistry between them is soft, it's steady, and I love how their romance feels rooted in mutual respect as well. This one is perfect if you want low angst historical with a community vibe, a small town energy, and a slow burn that's going to be very warm and cozy. The next one is The Love Remedy by Elizabeth Everett. Now, if you love historicals with a splash of mystery and with a strong heroine who is very passionate about helping others, this is going to be the one for you. Lucinda Peterson runs her own apothecary, and she has recently perfected a formula, but then it goes missing. and she knows that that is because somebody is sabotaging her. So then we have our hero, Jonathan Thorne. He's a grumpy, emotionally unavailable private investigator and single dad who takes the case. And the dynamic between these two is just absolute chef's kiss. She is driven, she's clever, completely unwilling to let society crush her goals, and Thorne is buttoned up, and you can feel how quickly he falls for her, even when he refuses to admit it. And the way that Lucy brings out his softer side is very, very satisfying. There's a real balance here between plot, which is the mystery, and the character development, and the romance as well. Plus, also the setting is just pure cozy springtime energy. You've got herbal remedies, a fragrant shop. Think of like a workbench clutter with like dried flowers as she's trying to work on her formulas at the apothecary. It's just the kind of romance that's going to make you want to light a candle, sip some tea with honey while you read it. And it also has strong feminist vibes, a grumpy sunshine pairing, and a romance with depth and stakes. So this one is definitely a must read. For the next one, we're going to go a little bit back in time, and it's The Naked Gentleman by Sally Mackenzie. So this one is lighter, more playful kind of historical. I would say Sally Mackenzie writes historical rom-com types. So we're going to lean into the fun side of the botanist trope. So we have John Parker Roth, who is a confirmed bachelor and a proud horticulturist who has zero interest in society or marriage. He just wants to be left alone with his plants. And then our heroine, Meg Peterson, she quite literally stumbles into his life, half-dressed, full of chaotic energy, and what follows is this delicious romp of misunderstandings, awkward encounters, and just two people that could not be more different on paper, but underneath there's humor, there's something sweet and earnest, and in fact, Meg is quite outspoken and unconventional, and she's really not about to let John retreat behind his greenhouse walls. And John, for all his grumpiness, is utterly smitten with her. Now, this is a great palate cleanser also. If you've been reading heavier romances, it gives you the botanical backdrop in a slow romance, but it's also this delightful enemies to lovers with plenty of banter. I mean, he's a nerdy plant guy who doesn't know what to do with his feelings. So what's not to love here? And the last book that I have for you guys today, we've got a female botanist. It's The Duke I Tempted by Scarlett Peckham. So if you're in the mood for something sexy, dark, and lush, this one is for you. So Poppy Cavendish is a self-taught botanist with her own exotic nursery business. She's ambitious, she's stubborn, and has absolutely no interest in being married. But then there's an accidental scandal that forces her into a marriage of convenience with the extremely proper Duke of Westmeath. And of course, sparks are flying immediately, but not the polite kind. He is struggling to maintain control over his carefully ordered life and hide a deeply personal secret about his desires. And their marriage is supposed to be strictly practical, a greenhouse for an heir, basically. But Poppy, with her curiosity and her passion, and of course her fierce independence, makes it impossible for Westmeath to keep his distance. What follows is this gorgeously written, emotionally raw romance that's full of longing, exploration, and just two people that are figuring out how to be vulnerable with each other. And the garden imagery is rich, symbolic, and the steam is off the charts in this one, plus with a really satisfying love story. Think of this one as Cottagecore meets kink. So if that's the vibe that you want to try, this one is for you. I also want to remind you guys that last week we talked about marriages of convenience in historical romance. So if you want to explore more of this trope, you can tune into that episode of the podcast where I had even more recommendations for you. But with that, that's all the quick recommendations I have for you guys today. Those are 5 books that are historical romances perfect for spring, featuring a botanist, herbalist, naturalist, or even a gardener main character, whether it's the hero or heroine, which are absolutely perfect, like I said, to be reading in the spring. I think historical romance in general is a great transition genre to read in the spring, and it just makes it even better when you find just the right ones that will give you those vibes of new beginnings and nature. So Definitely check these out. If you have any other recommendations, you can also leave them in the comments so we can expand on this list together. If you're tuning in on YouTube, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a new video from us. Remember to leave your recommendations in the comments, and for even more book recommendations, you can always visit underthecoversbookblog.com. Subscribe to our free Substack so you get all of the latest news of the content that we post across all of our platforms. But for today, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you find something wonderful to read this week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!